All right, homeroom. We're here with Rachel Steinberg, graduated in 2010, and from there went to Penn State and got a degree in advertising. And she works in professional sports. Rachel, coming to us from
Hello.
Brooklyn. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? It's been
Good.
10 years. So this is
Which
like
I
my
like.
high school reunion, basically, because
When
I don't
time.
know if
Hey,
mine's going to happen.
it's homecoming week. By the way, homeroom in the chat. I'm gonna send you all these announcements that
Oh,
have been piling up in my inbox. So it's right there on the right. And today is virtual background day. So I'll actually I should change my virtual background uh, to the one the teachers are supposed to use today. So that's mine right
okay.
there. I don't know what
Homecoming
that
was
is,
so
but
much fun as a student.
yeah. So anyway, let's take you back then. Let's talk about 2010 and your decision to go to Penn State and advertising, and how was your college search back then?
Yeah, no. So I knew I wanted to go to a big school. I wanted that campus feel. I wanted a school that had a sports atmosphere. And growing up in this area, sports were something that me and my family gravitated towards very easily. Actually, on my dad's side, I think I became the seventh person on his side to go to Penn State. So it wasn't like that influenced me. I just had already knew about it. My brother, when he was looking in colleges, he's 3 years older than me. He wanted a city school. So he went to GW and he looked at only city schools. And I was like, why don't I like any of these? What's off? And then I realized that I didn't want a city. I wanted a campus. And from there, I looked at big state schools, and I think Penn State, I got accepted on Black Friday of Thanksgiving. I vividly remember it because I was like, Mom, Dad, we're going shopping today. I got into college. Um, and yeah, so I stayed with a friend who was a year older than me. I fell in love with it and confirmed like a week after I stayed with her. And for advertising, I kind of looked at everything I wasn't good at. I knew I didn't want science or engineering or medical. I kind of just veered into whatever was left. And to me, that was communications, it was business, it was liberal arts. And from there, took some classes and decided that advertising was the spot for me.
Cool. Hey, just because I went to St. Joe's, which is a relatively small school
Mm-hmm.
in Philadelphia, and you went to Penn State. I've often wondered, like, what was your typical class size, or did you have a huge range from huge lectures to smaller smaller classes? What was it
Yeah,
like?
it was anything and everything. I had classes with 10 people, I had classes with 300 people, and it really ranged between what the subject was. Like I remember I took like a round table introduction to advertising where it was literally 10 of us in a table, and it was a class within my major, whereas there are larger general education classes which are called gen eds, and that's kind of, you just need to take a couple of them as a this is required. And so for some of those were bigger. I also had a couple of online classes, so I knew what it was like learning online back in the day. So yeah, it's nice because even at a big school, I was able to kind of pick and choose what my classes were like. I could tell by what room they were in, what the size of them were. I knew if it was 100 Thomas or anywhere in the forum, like those are lecture halls. And but littler ones, if it was in the business building, if it was in the communications building, I knew that they would be smaller. And I think as you also get older, your classes become smaller because they're more tailored to your major.
Sounds good. So let's take us from Penn State. I know right now you work for the Knicks, but what was your first step in that direction? What was your first job out of college or internship?
Yeah. So actually, my first job out of college was a temporary role, but I was on a mobile marketing tour, essentially. So I was with a sports marketing agency, and LG Electronics was the client. And so me and a couple other recent college grads, we were assigned to go from college town, activating a LG Electronics branded display at college football tailgates. So that was my very first job. I traveled. It was great. I lived in hotels. It was the weirdest first job ever, but I loved it. Your mouth is just wide open. You're like,
um,
how did this even work?
yeah, I since I've been doing this, I keep hearing about these what I think are pretty cool jobs that I didn't have. But so like on a Saturday, you're heading off to some college campus, where there's 50,000 people
Yeah.
tailgating, and you're putting up some kind of display there for or
Yeah,
trying to
imagine if
sell it.
you're going tailgating. Do you ever see a sponsored booth? Do you ever see something where
Sure.
brand ambassadors are trying to get your attention? That was me. And so Saturdays were the longest work day of the week. Like I was working 14, 15-hour days just on Saturday. And then I had a little bit of stuff to do during the week. It was very like traveling was a work. So it was great. And then from there, I got another similar role on BMW, but that wasn't as much traveling. And then from there, I actually moved back to Philly and got a seasonal marketing role at the Philadelphia 76ers, the Phillies home team. So, and that was the team I grew up loving, and I was there for a season. I guess I'll stop there because I'll let you keep questioning me.
That's you keep going. It's fine.
Okay.
So
Do you want me to
what
keep going?
brought?
No.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I was just gonna probably ask what brought you to the Knicks, and
Yeah.
how bad is it up there? That's franchise having a
So
rough time.
I only tend to work for teams when they're bad, apparently, because the season I worked in Philly was their 10-win season. I'm sure people on here, if they're fans, like they know what that was like. And then from there, I applied and got a role at the Brooklyn Nets in Barclays Center with their team in partnership strategy. And so I went from Philly, which was the worst, and I went to Brooklyn, and then they became the worst. And they were bad for a couple years, but then they made a surprise playoff run. Then they got Kyrie and KD, and I was already starting to think that I was ready for my next move. Obviously, because I needed to continue to work for teams that are bad, but actually my role now is within digital partnerships, and I wanted to learn more about the digital space. So I've only been there since February at the Knicks. I was in Brooklyn for 4 years. So I had one normal month, and then poof, everything's different.
Okay. Yeah. Right. For everybody. So what's your typical workday look like now? I guess.
Yeah,
What are
no,
you
that's a
doing?
good question. I think it ranges from the no work day is the same. There are always kind of partners who we are working on different solutions for, whether it's how like ideating how to activate their brand across our properties. Like I'm sure if anyone, I'm trying to think of a relevant example. I'm in partnerships. Like you look and you see any of the popular influencers, the partnerships that they have. I'm sure these people are on TikTok, and all of the TikTokers have their brands that they are with. It's like I'm doing that same thing. It's just for a team. So it's whether it's brainstorming, putting together sellable packages, it's researching what the industry is, which really is looking through my phone and looking on social media because I can do that for work. So it's every day is different. We have not played a relevant basketball game since March, so I'm sure I'm sure things will be a little bit different once basketball is up and running, whenever that is. So
Yeah, I don't think they're starting. I think they're starting this season late. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're not even starting till December.
Yeah, December, January. I've heard December. I've heard January. I've heard February. I've heard March. I don't know, but I know that they're going to give us an 8-week timetable between when they announce and when the season is. So those 8 weeks are going to be very busy.
Yeah, and are you pretty much working from home, or are you going anywhere? Yeah, you're pretty much stuck in
I'm
your
pretty
apartment.
much working from home. We could go into the office if we like absolutely wanted to, but I'm not really gonna risk that unless if I absolutely have to go into the office. I think what's nice about my job is that I can work from home, and this lifestyle has made it apparent that people can work from home. I'm going to Philly tomorrow to be with my family for a long weekend, and I don't think I would have been able to do that and not take off every single day if it wasn't for COVID. So it's
Right.
proving that we can still do the job. So
Right. I'll tell you what, our 10 minutes are about up, but do you have any, I'm sorry.
That's so
Do you,
sad.
do you have, do you have any overarching advice for a bunch of college, not college,
Oh,
high school seniors, soon to be college freshmen.
wow, I usually give advice for college graduates about to be applying for jobs. So I haven't done this
Well,
in a
you can
long
do that.
time.
You could just pretend they're in college. That's fine.
I'll say they're in high school. I'd say it's funny. I think looking back, it's these years are a lot of fun. They're a definitive time in your life. And when you're looking at colleges, I think what's so interesting nowadays is that you can look on social media and see what these colleges are like. There's so much more out there. Whereas back when I was applying, it wasn't too long ago. Like, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Like, I'd seen the college. Facebook was the only real social media platform at the time. And so I think now you have a lot of opportunity to research what you really want. I know there's a lot of downtime, but that means you can read more, you can look more, and just kind of explore what you could be interested in. But yeah, no, take your time, do your research, and then also know that it's like I look back and I'm 10 years out of high school. There are a lot of things in high school that I thought mattered more than they actually do now. So don't sweat the small stuff too. I say that to college students, but I think that rings true for high schoolers as well. You're not going to remember that test that you bombed 10 years later. Like, it's all going to work out. Or be nice to Mr. Collins. Collins, I think I literally got like an 88 every quarter or whatever. And because I don't know, because we had a good relationship, you bumped it up to an A. It's like, be
What?
good. You did. I swear to God. I think it was like an 88.25 or something. And I was the days to the beach girl. Like, I was like, I'm trying hard. Come on. So it's have good relationships. Don't sweat the small stuff. You can do your research because a lot of information is out there, and have fun. I don't know if a lot of other students always were on that cusp and you helped them, but thank you.
I can't believe I bumped up an 88. I must have been, I don't know what I was
You
thinking.
definitely did. Which also, I do want to tell you, I think I remember I took 6 AP tests in high school. I was pretty bad at testing. I think I got 1 4, 3 3s, and 2 2s. It was only the 4 that I got credit for. It was statistics. It was the one test I did well on, and I actually still use statistics in my job. Like, numbers are valuable in any career. I work on analyzing social performances and tracking numbers. Like, that's a lot of what I do. So statistics comes in handy.
You're the one person who uses this stuff. That's good.
Yeah, I do. Statistics is actually like helpful. I never took calculus. I think I just went from pre-calc to stat. I like numbers, and I think I got to place out of general math in college because of that test. And so I took a cool math class and called it a day.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. Rare to hear, but good to hear.
I mean, I didn't do well on any of my other tests, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Hey, you turned out okay. I mean, you're working for the Knicks. I mean, maybe you'd be working for the Lakers if you did good on the other tests or something. Actually,
I don't know. They're maybe in like a decade when they're not in the playoffs. I only work for teams when they're bad, apparently. One day I'll get a ring somewhere, but
I was thinking with your track record, maybe you should apply to work for the Cowboys. Would be good. It would really help us out here in Philadelphia.
Right?
If you could go work for them. Really help that team tank.
The NFC East, we could either tank or we could win the NFC East. Like, it's an interesting strategy, right?
Yeah. You could do both. You could win 4 or 5 games and still win the NFC East.
And then if not, you still get a top 10 pick. I think it's an interesting strategy.
Yeah, we'll see. Hey, thanks for joining us. Thanks for getting up so early.
I know. I need to eat breakfast. And lay back down. I'm a little hungry and tired. This wore me out.
Okay, we'll see you.
All right. Bye.